Hey folks, and welcome to week number 9. So, this week, number 1, watch the video. Good job, you've already gotten that done. Next, we want to complete the section breaking down the big question. Okay, so you're going to watch the video breaking down the big question. Then you're going to open up the research question template, look at the sample research questions, and then finally submit the research questions. Okay, I'm going to open this up here. And you'll find that this won't open in D2L, and it's fine. Just hit the download button. And once you do that, you can open it in Microsoft Word, okay? So there's a little glitch in D2L that's keeping you from being able to view it, but if you download it, it'll work just fine, okay? So this week, what we need to do is fill out the red section, okay? You can go ahead and fill that out and type it in. And the green section, okay? All of these smaller research questions, okay? That's all we need to do this week. I'm going to go back and into D2L, and I'll kind of show you where we are. So the idea here is if you can just take your big question, like last week I used this example of whether or not, these 4 cities in the U.S. accounted for so many gun murders that the U.S. murder rate would be at the bottom worldwide if we removed those 4 cities, okay? If you can just type that into Google and get an answer back, it's not really worth doing a research paper on unless those answers are wrong or they're lacking detail or something. There might be a reason to do it, but ultimately, the idea behind research is that you take a big question, you break it down into smaller chunks, and if you can answer the smaller chunks, you can put those back together to answer the large question. And this is how scientists work. They don't say, if I mix these 2 things together, I create a new compound. They break it into smaller experiments, understand the properties of each one, and hypothesize about what's going to happen there, okay? So the idea here behind this template is to break your big question down. I'm going to give you an example. There's a sample here, okay? So if your research question is whether or not the risks and side effects associated with using marijuana to treat depression and anxiety are greater than the side effects associated with SSRIs, typical antidepressants, or benzodiazepines, okay? This is a claim that's often made. Marijuana is safer than pharmaceuticals, okay? So that's sort of the idea here. So what are you going to do for this week? Well, we're going to start with identifying this big question, and you guys put your proposal together last week, and that should be pretty simple because that question should be in your proposal from last week. But then it's a matter of, okay, what do I need to do to break this into smaller chunks? And that's what the video talks about, and you can see potential side effects of SSRIs, how do they work, how do anti-anxiety medications work, how common are the side effects, etc., 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 okay? So break it down into as many questions as you need to. That doesn't mean you have to, I think there are 15 slots. If that's more than you need, that's fine. Give me the 10 questions you actually need. If you need 20 questions, just copy and paste and add to it, okay? That's this week's goal, is to take the big research question and break it down into chunks that we'll actually be able to answer. Okay, so as soon as you submit those questions, I'm going to try to turn around feedback on them as soon as possible. If you want to wait until Monday the 26th to turn it in, you can, but it's going to make your research time shorter on the back end. So the faster you do this, I'm going to come in every day through the week and try to give you guys feedback on these questions. I'll come in and spend a little bit of time just chipping away and giving you guys feedback as fast as I can. So I'm hoping I can give you feedback within 24 hours. So if you turn them in on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, that's the 20th or the 21st, I can give you feedback right away. If you need to rework your questions, you can do that. And if you don't need to, you can watch the tutorial on using OneSearch. This is the library database that I'm going to have you guys work with mostly this semester. And you can start doing the research to answer your questions. You'll note, back in the sample, of course, all we have are the questions. I don't want you to be worrying about answers or citations yet. What I want to see is that you've got a good, clear sense of which questions to ask. And that's the work of this week, okay? And like I said, the sooner you can do the research questions and get into get into the research, the sooner you can do that, the sooner I can give you feedback, and the sooner you can start doing research to put those answers together. Okay, and if you do it earlier, it's going to give you more time to do research, more time to write. It's going to make the next week a little bit more comfortable because next week is a very tight one. All right, so this week we're working on breaking the big question down and trying to see what we're going to look at when it comes to research. All right, if you've got any questions along the way, don't hesitate to let me know. I am always glad to help.